We are here with the Event Tech Pull Up. We are live, 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 something that we haven't done. We've always wanted to do for so long. My name is Tess Bismail with iSocialX, and my partner in crime is.
Planner wire. And look at us getting all fancy.
Well, we have it in us. This is what we do. It's just it's like a bad barber who doesn't keep his hair cut but makes everyone else fly. We take care of everyone else, but when it comes to us, go figure, we don't do it. But we have the ability to do it.
Yes, we do.
So,
Yes, we do. I mean, considering it's what we've done for a living for the past.
Years.
Yeah. Although, and I will say, Bob and I have taken the bulletless live a couple of times, but it's one of those things. It's finding the time, right?
It is, and it's doing it no matter what. Right, you're managing content, you're pushing content. So this is our step in the direction of doing things differently because we have a
Getting
commitment
back
to
on track.
ourselves. Right, we have a commitment to ourselves that we are going to do it and do it differently. So we are coming to you live. We will periodically be doing this. We'll still do some recordings, of course. Our content will be recorded for you, but I think we'll just do these little pull-ups here and there to kind of talk about really what's on our mind, and hopefully you'll join us and you'll have others join us as well.
So, wow, the second time today I've totally lost my train of thought.
It's okay. It's early in the morning for you, and everyone, guess what is about to happen today?
Speaking
The most
of Bob,
magnificent thing in the world is happening today. My partner Keith Johnston is finally going on a real, not partial, but a real vacation. So that's why there's a little pause in there.
yeah, but yeah, I'm headed back over. I just put Bob's. Hey Bob, how are you? He's our one viewer right now.
What's up,
But yeah, so I'm actually headed over to jolly old England, where I will actually, for the first time in, I think I've known Bob 10 years. This will be the first time we're ever actually meeting in person.
Isn't that amazing? That's fabulous. But Bob, y'all have to take pictures and send it to me. I appreciate it. And I guess we could say cheerio, right? Is that what we say?
Something like that. So Tess, just on a really brief, we'll give people a synopsis. There are reasons why we have not been recording the Event Tech Pull Up. And let's just give them kind of a taste of, what have you been up to over the past even 2 months, just because it's as COVID was winding through, it started to ramp up. And now where are we now?
Yeah, good stuff. Excited to be able to support clients face to face, not just virtual or even just not hybrid and me being virtual. So I've been to many cities over the last 3 weeks. I mean, I did a Disney Plus event in New York. Came back from that one day, went to Chicago for the restaurant show, came back from the restaurant show, tried to take a vacation in Park City, Utah. It kind of worked. I got a little flu when I was in New York, so I kind of had to do rest, get better, and all of that. And then I came back same day on a Sunday from Park City and flew out to Imex in Frankfurt, which was absolutely an amazing trip. We always go to Imex all the time here in the States. So it was phenomenal to see people we haven't seen, just like you talked about, Bob, in person ever, but made these amazing relationships virtually, and to kind of see things in action from a different perspective with new tech. Saw a lot of things focuses on expos and community and all-in-ones or platforms that do many things, I should say, because I'm not an all-in-one fan. So I saw some really great tech, new tech, and it was just good. It was good to get a global perspective of what our events industry is looking like very differently.
Yeah, and I love IMEX Frankfurt. I don't think that I've been in probably 8 years, but of the two, between Vegas and Frankfurt, I would pick Frankfurt any day of the week.
Yeah, I would pick Frankfurt too. I would, because it was so interesting. And I was able to do a post-fam with Frankfurt CVB, which was amazing and exciting because I actually could drill down and learn more about the culture, some traditional foods. We went to a beautiful castle and just history at its finest. And it made me really want to bring a group there, or at least talk about it differently. And I just really was excited about it. So those are some of the things we've been doing, and just traveling since the
Yeah.
beginning of the year.
Well, like we were talking, obviously you talk before you go live, and so we were talking, and I said, I've hit airline status as of May 1. That's
Yeah.
how roaring back events are coming.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. I did too. I'm like 200, I think so, dollars shy of gold on Delta. And everyone who knows that, that's a hard thing. And we're sitting here in June. So
yeah, I mean, I just got back myself from Rotary International, which was in Houston. But for client events, I think I've been to Las Vegas 4 times already. Uh,
yeah.
it is coming back, but Tess, before we were talking, we were kind of like, oh, what are we going to talk about today? And you actually started to talk about some stuff, and we said, you know what, that's the perfect focus for this little live one we're doing. So tell me again, or since Bob's watching, tell Bob what you.
What's up, Bob? So I was saying to Keith, and some people just may not agree with me, which is fine. But I feel like there's something wrong or something going on in our industry right now. And I said, Keith, I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but something's not right. Something's not right. And he's like, why, Tess? What do you mean by that? And I really mean that we had a great trajectory in the beginning, pre-COVID, right? Then COVID hit and everyone shut down, went into emergency mode, right? And we became more focused on what the things we should have been, like humanity. We started talking about people and building community and giving audiences what they want and delivering on those promises in a real, genuine, intentional way. But I also feel like over the last 6 months or so, we've lost our soul, or the soul of our business meeting events industry somehow. We've got companies that are consolidating, which I have no problem. Money is money. You've got to consolidate, right? But where are we missing the mark? Are we really listening to what the audience is asking of us? I think there's a huge disconnect. You mentioned that too, Keith. Huge disconnect. And I think we're losing it somewhere. Or I don't even think losing, I think lost it. And one of the most surprising things to me is when I was in a group of, I'm not going to name them, but in a group, a private group, and their focus and their language is so much on forget virtual. I'm going to just do face to face. That act and sentence alone is counterproductive to why we were reset. We were reset for a reason. So, Keith, that's kind
Well,
of where my thoughts were going.
and I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think that right now, as you just said, there's a huge disconnect between what organizations and planners want and what attendees want. And I've seen groups, especially just coming out of Rotary, where they did a magnificent job of bridging virtual and in person, and their hybrid experience was actually good, right? But
Nice.
so many planners are just abandoning virtual, and you're leaving an audience on the table, I guess. There are people that aren't ready to travel, uh, people that cannot travel. There are people that may never travel again, right? Introverts discovered that they could
Continue their world that they love so much and
right here,
passionate about.
and now you're leaving them behind again.
And it's not like they don't have money to pay for your stuff. They may pay more. They
Yeah.
may do more and do more, tick the box in several boxes versus one box. I mean, just
Well, and I also think that one of the things that I think a lot of organizations have are missing the mark on is they're going for flash, right? Rather than the actual content, right? Okay, if you don't have the world's biggest budget, right? Go ahead and put your hybrid into Zoom and let people watch in Zoom. If the content is good, people will tune in no matter where you are.
yeah, exactly. And you just have to drive them to that. But you have to push the buttons that we're gonna work with them, not that you're guessing over. And I think that I totally agree that the flashy things, right? is what people are going for to try to get people involved and putting money towards. And I think they're following marketers. I think marketers have created more of the division than what should have happened. Like, I'm a firm believer in certain organizations, events should be in the marketing. It really should work that way. They should work hand in hand. If they're not, it's not a problem, but they still should work hand in hand. However, marketers need to listen to planners
Yes.
on how an event should be designed, on a language that should be pitched. I don't think that marketers should come up with their own ideas on language, right, and copy without that. If the planner doesn't know, they know. I think planners know their audience is. I think what happens is certain things gets blocked along the way, and then they can't deliver the way that they'd like to deliver because everyone believes marketing over the planners.
Yeah, and going back to my what audience want and what it comes down to really is content. I actually have a decent analogy for that, and it's like if you go back to the beginning of punk music and new wave music, right? And if you look at CBGBs in New York, right, it was a crap hole. There was nothing. I mean, it was nasty, yet it was packed every night because that is where the content was that those people wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing holds true for events. If you have the best speakers and the best content and the best what people want to learn, they will literally sit in an alley of mud.
Exactly. Absolutely. And certain things just don't value, but that value is key, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's flip over, because we always talk about technology. Let's flip over to even the event tech world, right? And what event tech companies are doing. And I've noticed, I've kind of mentioned it on a couple of events, maybe last week or week before, in the chat, about how we've bastardized the word all-in-one. And I blame marketers for that, because they are coming up with this language to describe their technology and their or a platform or operating system. Okay, so let's move past that. And I'm like, there's glitz and glam to get people's attention, for to pay attention to you. Then there's also lies that occur.
Right?
Oh,
sure.
And I have a problem with that. I mean, I do Marcom 130,000 years ago. So I know techniques. I know what happens, right? But the average person doesn't know how to read through the lines. And I think we should do a better job of defining it. There should be an event tech dictionary or a business events dictionary where you can go to and you can say, these are safe words and these are not safe words. This is great. This works. And you know what? No, not so much.
I used to notice it before COVID. They used to see like it was an event management platform, and then you would go in, and it was literally it allowed you to print badges. It's like, oh, that's not a platform.
No,
it's still a great way to print badges, but it's not a platform.
Right. And I also think that, even some other points to move it further is this whole concept of influencer that has come up, or people who the industry leans towards or quote unquote listens to. Are they people who the industry truly is listening to? Or is it that the person has created a brand for themselves and people assume that the industry is listening to? And what it's too much separation. I think there's too much separation. I don't think the goodness that came out of us being able to be still and respect the pause, the wonderfulness that was coming out of that, I think we're slowly getting away from that. And people are circling backwards as opposed to innovating forward. So.
Hey, and did you notice we got two viewers now? Good morning, Peggy.
Uh-oh. Peg, how are you?
Yeah, here comes my thought, right? I'm with you. There is something that isn't right, and I can't. I personally cannot put my finger on what it is, but there is something that is amiss right now.
And that's exactly what I was saying. I was like, I can't put my finger on it. Everything I said is mere speculation, but it's like, how in the world can we do better? And I think the way in which we can do better is if we call things on the carpet when we see it and say, hey, that is not genuine. That is not focused on human interaction. That is not what they said they wanted. And it's going to take advocates to influence within the organization to try to call things on the carpet and hopefully push and challenge that. And I think it takes certain leaders in our industry too to say, hey, how can we do better? Right. I think there's some fabulous things that are happening, but I'm not talking about fabulous things. What I'm really talking about is I can't put my finger on something's not right. So
Yeah. So I don't know where do we segue into where do we go from there? Because I don't think we've drawn any conclusions, and I don't think that we've come up with any way to fix anything.
well, just the only things that I can say is bring voice. I always used to say that voice tech was the future of business meetings. Now I say lift your voice and say something, call things on the carpet. Please, truly say something when something is not right. And I don't know. I that is not my world to solve the problem. I think what I can do is just bring up some points that might be helpful, some food for thought.
So being in person, back in person, there are a couple other things that I'm seeing. Number one is, have you noticed the staffing shortage?
Oh my Lord.
Everywhere you go.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. Everywhere you go. Not only the staffing shortage, I think it's the preconceived notions that people have when we're traveling or interacting with others, that it's, again, that whole mentality of going back. We're back to normal.
Yeah.
Forgetting, it's almost like they need some signs up to say, okay, we have a staffing shortage, so please be mindful and be patient with us.
Well, that's the one thing that, to be honest, that is getting to me, but with the hotels, it's like, we all get it.
Just say the damn thing.
Forewarn me.
Yeah, just forewarn me.
We had an event a few months ago, and I'm not going to say what property it was, but they kept saying, we are at 100% staff. We are at 100% staff. We are at 100% staff. We got there, and it was a shit show, right? They had facilities people that they were putting server clothes on and pushing them out to serve meals. Wow. And you weren't at 100%, and it's okay. I get it. If you had told us that going in, we could have set expectations.
Exactly.
Everyone will pitch in. I am, for my hotel partners and my AV partners and all of that, you're my partner, right? I am there. I will help you. You help me.
And you get it done.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then same thing. Like I said, it's something. I put my finger on it. I don't know how to categorize it, but that's true. And not only just staffing, I think the quality of the experiences that people are having face-to-face are very different. And I don't think people are taking into account that there are many people who are taking a risk to travel for the first time. And the word social distancing is as if it didn't exist in our language. And people could have traveled with the trust that they're coming into an event that is going to be sort of protective in a sense, right?
Sure.
That we're going to still do that, as opposed to no masks at all. People become political over that. And then standing in line for things, and people are like this. They're just like right behind you. And even if you social distance yourself from the person in front of you, the person behind you is still right there breathing on your neck instead of taking your cue.
Other countries,
again, it's just
other countries do a better job than the U.S. of things like paying attention and actually, respecting people's boundaries a little bit. And we had an event in Canada, and they actually called out, it was a silly thing, right? They did the little dot on the badge or whatever, what color lanyard you had was how you wanted to interact. Right? Are you ready for a hug, or, do you want 6 feet of distance? And it was amazing to watch that people actually respected that.
Yes, because it was communicated.
Yes.
It was put in place, and you had options. I really think, and I've always thought, if you do those things with people, it will work.
Yeah.
It literally will truly work. But if you don't have that, and then people's brains have a tendency of going to that conditioned behavior, that years of conditioning behavior, as opposed to you trying to change behavior over the last couple of years. So, and there's tech that's out there that can help you with those kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great way to spin it back to tech, right? Now we've got to talk about, what's going on in tech right now, and especially, well, in event tech in general. But it's really funny. The Hopin, I was calling the Death Star for a long time, right? Because it was moving through the galaxy,
Right.
and they were sucking up, right, all of they Attendify and Boomset and all of this, and just like the Death Star, how did they not see? And this is not, I don't want to pick on Hopin. I think their platform's fine, whatever. But how did event tech companies, especially those that dove in feet first into virtual, how did they not see the fact that going back to in person was going to affect revenue and things like? That was kind of weird to me, that all of a sudden all of these virtual platforms, were all of a sudden like, we didn't see this coming.
Yeah, I don't know what some of them were thinking, but it's very evident that they didn't. And I think some of them, not all of them, have people among them who are not planners. Or if they do, they have planners at a certain level, maybe on the customer success side, maybe on the project management side, but not at a level in the organization to affect change. And to me, that's just business strategy 101, right?
Right.
You're projecting, you're forecasting. Doesn't mean you listen to it, but you're projecting, you're forecasting. And you kind of should know that certain things are cyclical, right? What about the what ifs, And I think that has a lot to do with drives some of those consolidations that are coming. There's been some many over the last couple of weeks that are very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I guess the one thing that really got me with when Hopin bought Attendify. Okay, great, right? It's another channel for you, right? You've got that nice inexpensive event app that everybody uses, but then they went ahead and they sunsetted it, and it's like now there's a gaping hole in the industry where Attendify used to sit. It's that 2K really good event app that worked well. Everybody liked it. It was easy. And now there's just a hole.
Well, I think, and I think there's two things. I think that has been happening a lot. Pre-COVID, that happened a lot. There, I could name 4 or 5 different apps that were, softwares that were very exciting, and then were sunset after getting gobbled up, which is unfortunate. Because then it's fine if you get sunset, but then why can't some of those tools go into whatever it is that was?
Wait, was it Red 123 that Cvent bought?
Mm-hmm.
It was a better platform than Cvent, and
mine was One Lobby. I was a big One Lobby girl.
Yeah, One Lobby.
Anyway, but nonetheless, and I also think that this sounds off topic, but when I have a client come to me and say, "Taz, I need my because I work for people, I support planners." They're like, "Well, my client needs a mobile event app for their event." How do you answer that question?
It used to be, well, depending on what it was, my answer used to be Attendify.
But they say, I need a mobile event app today in 2022. What does the general planner's mind go to? Right? Do they even know the difference between a mobile event app and an app that can support you in a hybrid? Or do they think that what is thought of as that? I think there are a whole other levels of conversation that have to go on with just choosing a mobile event app.
So there is an
in-person event.
There is a little app that's kind of filling the niche that Attendify had, and it's called Eventi, right? Mm-hmm. And it does most of the same things. It's a mobile app. You can have schedule and all that, but you can also put links into Zoom or Vimeo, whatever. So it can actually be a hybrid platform, right?
Hoover, you can do Hoover the same way if you want.
Yeah, Hoover, is another one. I'm sure not Hoover and Feed Loop, right?
Yeah.
They all do.
There are several different ones.
So, but I think that a lot of planners and a lot of organizations are still, they might be using a Hoover or an Eventee or whatever, and want to go hybrid and not realize that the platform can already do it for them. Right. And so they go out and they start looking for something, and it's like, well, it's already right here. You already have it.
Right. And that hence then the beautifulness of hopefully having an event technologist who can look at your current stack and say, hey, we've got that.
Did you know you already had that?
Let's try to see and maximize what we have going on. Or why do we need that? Like, do you really need a mobile event app, or is it just web enabled and then they can look at it on the web and we send them the link?
Yeah, simple
web. I mean, it's all kinds of different things that could possibly happen. So that's our soapbox for today.
Did we really say anything today?
No, I think we said a lot. You need to ask Peggy and Bob.
Well, Bob was actually saying that it's worth noting that there's a growing movement towards sustainability, and tech can help with that. True, right? And that's for a whole nother episode.
Oh, I can't wait till we do that one, because I don't know if anyone knows, but I was on the board of the Green Meetings Industry Council in Atlanta chapter, and that was 100 years ago. And to see sustainability being a part of the forefront now more than ever, I think that's great.
Well, and it's becoming, back in the day, right? When we were pushing everyone to go green and it wasn't happening, or it was small things here and there. Now it is actually the snowball is starting to roll down the hill, right? With the price of gasoline now, electric cars are becoming more common, which means that the shift has already started to happen. And event tech, will, the virtual and sustainability, we talk about, you and I were just talking about, introverts and, people who can't travel yet and all of those things. Well, there is a certain benefit to virtual and hybrid events on the sustainability side, right? You're not putting airplanes, in the air. So that is another way to, that new technologies can be beneficial.
Absolutely. You just got to use them, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You can be very simple and basic on things. You got the Rolls Royce, you got your Toyota, and you got your Yugo. So
you need a Toyota.
You need a Toyota. Yeah, let's say you need a Toyota, not a Yugo. You need a Toyota, but
But there are very few events that actually really do need the Rolls Royce.
Right.
Let's be 100% honest. There are very few.
Very few.
Yeah, as long as your content's good. If your content's not good, you got to dazzle them with razzle dazzle flash, right?
Right.
If your content is rock solid,
then there you go.
If you were doing a computer event and you were able to get Woz, Bill Gates, and Tim Cook, you could host that literally in a garbage can, and people would show up.
You can, because you got the hologram Tim Cook, you got the comedy show with Woz. And then you got it's too early, Woz. And then and Bill, you just got chill. Just got that.
So Bill and I see eye to eye on NFTs. You see him yesterday. He was like, "Yeah, it's garbage."
But it's garbage that makes money. So hey, and money is money, no matter whether it's temporary or long term. It's still money.
And there's one born every minute.
Yeah. Exactly.
So. All right, Tess, bring us home. We've been here 30 minutes.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so hopefully everyone in the audience and those for future will be coming to you live. We'd like to hear from you and find out what kind of topics you'd like us to talk about. And just know we're back. We appreciate you. Our love is event tech and helping our event professionals feel comfortable and just pull up with us. So thank you very much. And you all have a great and peaceful day and weekend.